Initiating surprise in 3,
This
2,
is
1.
The Real Brian Show.
Holy crap! It's August already? What the heck happened? Is it me or did summer just start like 2 weeks ago or something like that? I don't know.
All right, all you sinners, listen up. It's time for Captain Influence to tell you what you've all done wrong since he's been on the show last. So,
Actually, all seriousness aside, let's hit record and see what happens because it's Friday. All right, we got to end the week. We got to, I don't know, shoot the breeze, have some fun. Let's rock it. Yeah. Welcome to the Real Brian Show. Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? It's a sexy day here with Captain Influence getting ready to jump on. And hey, I just want to say thank you for joining us. I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you and some of the comments I've heard recently and listening and watching and all that good stuff. It's been fun. So thank you for helping us to end our week right because although we could end our week right. You know, Captain Influence, welcome, by the way. Welcome back. It's been a long time. How are you?
Hi. Remember me?
I like switching words. And so Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That's one of those. It's a great game, by the way. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we've been playing
Borderlands universe. So we could call it Tiny Weena's. No, that doesn't.
Tunderland? Tiny Weena's Tunderland?
Whiny Tina? What do you think about that, Captain?
I don't like it. Yeah. I need to mention
Galactic. If you said like Reap Doc or something, I mean, it's just fun to switch words. I don't know.
It's fun when it's done on accident.
Yeah, exactly. It is fun. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm not dead, by the way. In case some of you
good.
took him seriously last week. I was,
that would
or
make
the week
sense
before, with Captainatrix. Great episode, by the way. I really liked that episode.
Thank you.
And I haven't heard your last week's episode yet. I confess. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
It's quite special. It was quite special.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I know it is.
It was really fun. And, you know, Captainatrix, of course, just comes right in and loves to hear the sound of her own voice. And
oh,
fantastic.
gosh.
Yeah.
I love to hear the sound of her voice, too. And
doesn't everybody?
Remember when she first came on the show as a guest? Do you remember that?
Yeah, like
all
way
impressionable
back.
And stuff before college.
Yeah, she was so young, and you know, we totally molded her mind into our own image, and now here she is. She's just like us, just a female version of
just
you and
another,
me.
Just another wayward podcaster, and
I feel really proud of who she's become. Captain, how is your alien probing, by the way?
Yeah, I'm gonna set some records straight on the probing as well. So we'll talk about that briefly today.
Did you see the ship? By the way, was it cool looking or?
Just,
I know you're an alien sighting kind of guy. I'm just curious.
Just a bright light, and that's the last thing I remember.
All right. Did you wake up like all drugged up, feeling good this time, or
I
not as
woke
much?
up so drugged up and feeling so good.
That's good.
Again. Yeah. When do you want to get into that?
Well, we can talk about it right now. I was talking about the colonoscopy 2 weeks ago. With
that. Yeah. Oh, that. Okay. Let me switch gears. Okay.
But I understand though that you thought it was an alien probing or something. I mean, come on, you're a Roswell
Who knows?
fan.
So here's the deal with those. And I don't think I mentioned this last, remember one of the first episodes I was on, I was telling everybody about how my first colonoscopy, and I was like 42 when that happened, by the way.
Yeah. And this was like 2017, by the way. And this, and you loved
and
it. You thought it was.
You
amazing.
thought I was. You said I was much younger. I was only 5 years younger. But
by younger,
5 years,
I mean you're not supposed to get a colonoscopy until you hit 50 or so. I think is what it is. And so you were much younger than the required age, is what I was saying.
Yes, at the time because of some issues I was going through. So, but that was one of the first episodes I was on, and then I've been all those 5 years. I've been looking forward to the next one so that I could do it again on the show, and here we are. Right.
I know. You've been like, I can't wait for my next colonoscopy.
When's my next colonoscopy? Yeah. So, and I know that sounds
ever.
really dumb. I know, everyone. I know that sounds dumb. And I have to tell you, this one was a little different.
Was it good for you, or was the first time better?
Okay. So let me lay it out for you, and I'll do this briefly, and no graphic. I promise. Nothing TMI or anything like that. So
that's too bad.
Last time, the reason I thought it was so awesome was because the prep last time was used a different prep, where I had to drink these 2 quarts of some liquid, and they didn't taste. They tasted kind of like like third world Gatorade. You know, they just didn't taste that great.
You know what third world Gatorade tastes like?
No, I'm just guessing. That's what I
I
imagine
do.
Gatorade in Sudan tastes like or something.
Okay.
No offense to any Sudanese out there, but that's the first prep. This prep, I had what's called Go Lightly, which is this giant gallon of you have to fill this gallon with water and it has this powder in it. I forget the chemical name for it. Most people who have ever had a colonoscopy use this prep. And let me tell you, Brian, it tastes, and I texted this to you and Carl at the time, it tastes just like cold snot. Cold snot. We all know what snot tastes like it or not, because when we have a cold, it gets in our mouth, it runs down our nose or in the back of our throats, whatever. It tastes like it's like mildly salty water, and you have to drink a gallon of it.
Ugh.
And it says it has lemon flavor, but dude, it does not have lemon flavor. So it's not
Interesting.
It's not as easy to drink, but you get through it. You're on the toilet for a couple hours, and then you get your procedure the next day. And the procedure itself went exactly the same as the first one. I go into the prep room. They ask me a bunch of questions. They stick an IV in my hand. Then they roll
on the top of your hand.
Yeah, on the top of your hand. That's one of the places common for IVs.
Oh, I know.
It stings a little bit, but
very
nothing
sensitive though.
Yeah. Okay.
It
well,
really
they might be able to do it in your arm if you have a
arm is
preference.
better. I'm good with that.
So then they roll me into the procedure room in a bed, and so then the doctor injects the anesthesia in my IV, says it's going to feel a little bit of a burning. I said, yeah, it burns a little bit. I turn over onto my side at his instruction, and then I woke up in the recovery room.
Interesting.
Same exact thing. Now, here's what I kind of didn't know on the last one. When you're in that anesthetic fog, you're actually awake for the whole procedure, and they can talk to you. They can ask you questions. You can tell them things, but you don't remember a single word of it.
Really?
So,
wait, so you're not completely out then. You're just...
No. You just have no memory of the whole thing.
Okay.
Your conscious mind is just out, but you're there. And so the doctor, if he wants to be obnoxious or something, he can ask you all sorts of personal questions, and you'll just be an open book because you don't have any inhibitions. You can't lie. They call it a kind of a truth serum, basically. But then they mix that with fentanyl, which we all know from the opioid crisis. And fentanyl, used responsibly in a medical setting, does all sorts of wonderful things, but unfortunately it's gotten into the black market and it's very dangerous now. But I had it in a medical setting, and that's what makes you feel so good afterwards, is the aftermath of the fentanyl. So yeah, you wake up. Apparently I asked where my wife was like 5 times, and I don't remember any of that. She got there and they told us what happened, and everything was good. I'm all clear, Brian. Everything's fine. So I get to do it again in 7 more years now. So kind of bummed about that, but at the same time, I'm glad that they didn't find anything bad. So
you wish it was every year.
I kind of do.
5 times a year. Like, can I just come in for my colonoscopy? We don't need to see you for 7 years. And you're like, I just want to.
Oh man. I'm like the one person in the world's like, can I do it every year, please? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You hear this stuff and you hear the stories. It's funny. And I've been telling everybody about your story, Dylan. Like, oh my gosh, he loves it. It's the greatest thing ever. They come out later and they're like, this guy's on crack, man. He's
must be, or fentanyl.
Crack, man. You little crackhead, stuff like that.
Maybe they think I'm a fentanyl addict now. I'm not. And luckily I have no idea how to find fentanyl illegally.
That's good.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
I've never had fentanyl, so no idea.
It's an opiate.
I don't
Makes you feel good.
Most pain killers anyway. Like I'm not into that stuff because it jacks with my mind. I feel like I'm having an out of body experience. It's not good for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
You know what's amazing though is allergy season has been kicking me, and I decided, I'm good. I don't need any like Zyrtec or anything, So I just I'm not gonna take it. And we go for a bike ride, and it's really windy and all that. I wake up this morning and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's nonstop. So I'm like, you're talking about snot running down the back of your neck. Like I woke up and like I breathed in and I choked. I had so much in my lungs and I was like coughing all kinds of stuff. That's how bad it was. Like I've never had that happen before. So
gross.
Anyway, yeah, it's disgusting, but thankfully it didn't taste like anything. So your little salty whatever, it was just nothing. But if I sneeze and if I'm all like,
a gallon of snot, Brian.
Dude, that's
just
pretty
not
much
as
what I was,
viscous. It was all, it was
swallowing.
watery,
Oh,
but it
thank
wasn't.
God. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's-
it wasn't
that's
like
what worries
viscous
me.
like snot.
Yeah, it's not that, like you're drinking this like.
Oh, that would be awful, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, well that's good. I don't have to get a colonoscopy for many years now, so I'm not looking forward to mine. I'm not as excited as you are. I don't like well, I don't know if I like fentanyl actually, but I don't like most of those things. So I'm like, hey, I don't know. You know what I do like though?
Yep.
Is Barbie.
Do you really?
Actually, no, I don't. I really don't care.
I was going to say,
but I got to tell you, it's interesting because in fact, I've heard this from many of you who have been listening to the show and watching the shows. Oh yeah, Barbie. I went and saw Barbie, and it wasn't that bad. And I've been watching some people too on YouTube who typically are in the genre of stuff that Captain influenced you and I like. And so they're talking like, yeah, I went to see Barbie with the kids and all, and they're like, it was actually really good. I'm kind of surprised. There was like something for everybody, and I walked out kind of very pleasantly. Yeah, and I was like, what? So, and it's getting a great rating too. And so I got to think, hey, Johnny Pistolshot, you want to go see Barbie with me? We can dress
dude.
up. Yeah.
Do it, Johnny.
Pink. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Do it, Johnny. Seriously. No, okay. Can I give you my Barbie
Have you
take?
gone to see Barbie?
Yeah, so
You saw the movie?
I saw it. I saw it last week. I went with my wife, not my movie buddy, not her mother.
Okay, well that's
my
a
wife
good
wanted
thing,
to see
though.
it.
Yeah.
And so we went to a packed theater on a Thursday night. And let me tell you something, Brian. It's an interesting film, and we laughed as I laughed. I haven't laughed that hard at a movie since Something About Mary in the mid-90s.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's the last time I laughed that hard. Yeah. Yeah. That was the last time I laughed that hard. And my wife and I were both in tears. I was wiping my eyes constantly.
Wow.
It was so funny, but it was exceptionally like over the top preachy. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, my advice is to go to it because they're so over the top preachy, especially near the end of the movie, that it's like they jumped the shark on it and it's okay. It's like they went so hard that it like numbed me almost. And so it is, if you go just expecting to laugh and enjoy the humor in it, you're going to have a great time. But if you get hung up on the preachiness, then that's your hand. That's on you, unfortunately. But I mean, it's very, very, very preachy against like the patriarchy and women having been historically sidelined for since beginning of time, more or less, in most societies. So I mean, they had a right to be preachy, but they really shoved it at you in this movie. So just go expecting that, and just know that in spite of that, it's an extremely funny movie and very well written.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love good funny movies. We've talked about this definitely ad nauseum on the show, that I hate agendas and I hate preachiness and stuff like that. It really it annoys me.
I know. Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to that. I may wait until it's out, on streaming or something like that at this point. But it just reminds me of something, because we were talking about this recently though. Too many examples of what we've talked about on this show for many, many, many years are actually still happening in real life. And I will not give specifics because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus and that kind of thing. But I continue to hear specific stories from people who are reverse bullying. I mean, I've said this before. It's reverse bullying. It's saying, okay, well, let's just take Barbie. I've not seen it, so I can't tell you. Let's just take Barbie, for example, that, okay, women have been sidelined. They've been oppressed, Yeah, agreed. And they shouldn't be. Like, I agree that they need to be lifted up. How many times have I said, like, we need to lift each other up so we're there together? Right. Not pushing one down.
Equalize the playing field rather than having a slapping contest. Yeah,
exactly. Or in the sense of, and I like Titanic as the example. Somebody's drowning. You step on the person in the water to get above the water, right? That's natural humanity. But let's not do that. Let's lift each other up and come to the surface together. That's my example. So I keep hearing these situations and they drive me crazy about somebody who will say, okay, well, we've been sidelined, we've been oppressed, and now we have power, we have a voice. So in an effort to rise up, let's push those who may have oppressed us at one point or may have sidelined us at one point. And then you kind of got to ask, but did that person do that? Or was it somebody, 100 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever, right? So I just get so tired of it because it's not healthy. It's not the right way to do it. It's not right. We have to lift each other up equally together. That's how we win, not pushing someone else down. That's just, it's common sense, right? But that's not what's 100%. Happening. So
anyway. And so there's lots of different interpretations of the message that is imparted in Barbie. Again, very explicitly in some cases near the end of the movie. And as long as you interpret it as them not attacking you personally, that there's a character that rants and rants for minutes on end about this oppression that has been going on, right? And we both agree it's a real thing. And you have to just not take it personally because it's not necessarily directed at you unless you are a toxic masculine person, right? There are toxic people out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Toxic masculinity is a real thing.
Totally.
Toxic femininity is also a real thing. So,
it is true.
But you just have to not take it personally and just let it wash over you and enjoy the movie. That's what you got to do.
I like that. And you're right about that because I think that if people are smart and they're actually, again, using common sense,
right?
When you are saying, hey, we need to fight against someone or something, if you are targeting this sounds bad. You don't want to target somebody. Yeah, but if you're talking about someone who has actually done wrong or something that has done wrong, and then you're, quote, ranting about it and trying to figure out a solution, by the way, there's nothing like somebody who rants and then stops and then stays in that place for the rest of their natural life. And you're just like, do something about it, True. So if somebody's going to look for a solution while they're venting and processing and trying to figure that out, and they're talking about someone or something specific, I'm 100% okay with that. It's when you generalize and say, well, this goes back to, it's a great example. You get pulled over by the cops because you're speeding. First of all, you were speeding. Second of all, then you're like, well, all cops suck. Yeah, but you were the one that was speeding, and all cops don't suck. Some do, but they don't. Some do. It's the same kind of thing. It's just like, okay, come on.
Most probably don't.
We all do it though. We all do it. I mean, it's.
Oh, I'm scared to death of cops just because, I'm never doing anything wrong. I'm just like, when I see one, I'm like,
you're driving 30 and a 50,
and that's good. That just their very presence makes me make sure I'm not speeding too much, at least, and make sure if I am speeding, oh shoot, I'm speeding. I gotta rear it in a little bit. Just their very presence causes most of us to have that reaction. But there's a lot of people who their very presence causes them to truly be afraid. Yeah. People of color, for example. That's a legitimate thing, right? And that's a legitimate phenomenon we know happens.
Totally.
That sort of
because it's happened to them.
What's it called? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm lucky that doesn't happen to me. But there's a reaction that different people have to just their presence on the road. So,
when I was younger, I got pulled over all the time, especially going, back and forth between college and home and stuff like that. Because I was a young guy driving at night and they always pulled me over. Like, do you know why we pulled you over? Like, I have no idea. And they're like, were you drinking? No. Like,
they were fishing for you.
They were fishing.
That's a Colorado thing, dude.
That happened a lot in my 20s, actually, a lot.
I'm not surprised.
It doesn't happen anymore. And part of that too is that the new police chief has changed. And the culture has changed, and I don't think they're really allowed to do that anymore. And I don't know if it's happening with college students still. I don't know, but it definitely was a real thing for a while. And so, they're profiling.
I was a victim of that.
Kind of thing.
So.
Yeah. One thing I was going to say too, it's like when people say all meat is bad, or they say all carbs are bad, or all sugar. Well, I guess sugar really is never really good for us per se. It's good for
in moderation. It's fine. It's fine in moderation. It is.
I don't know, but again, it's the excessive generalizations. Now, I'm one to speak too because I love exaggerations, and so I'm like, everybody's doing this, and the reality is that too. In my personal experience, it's usually, in order to get me animated about something, it's usually a pretty large percentage of people that is, doing that. And so therefore I just, everybody's doing it. When the reality is,
or at least you have a lot of experiences with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I was going to mention something to you because this is something that you might, since we're talking about what we're watching and stuff like that, you might actually be interested in this show, but I found a show called Hijack. It's an Apple TV show. And I don't know if anyone's checked it out or not. I know Lord Thunder has, because I said, have you watched this? And he's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. So we were getting into it a little bit, but I think I've watched through episode 4, and I believe it might be this week actually that the final episode airs. I think it's only a 7-episode run.
Okay. But what's it streaming on?
Apple.
Okay. Apple.
So
okay, got it.
Idris Elba, and
Ooh,
I love Idris. I mean, it's amazing.
Everyone loves Idris Elba. I mean, yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's one of those. Okay. Hijack, obviously, planes. So if you're like terrified about somebody hijacking a flight that you're on, you probably shouldn't watch this movie, because it might not help you to be.
Yeah, like that ever happens anymore. But yes, yeah,
well, it can, but it's a lot harder now. But anyway, the premise is good. The story is intense. The acting is phenomenal. I mean, they really have done a phenomenal job with this show. I'm blown away by it. The only thing, there's a couple times where I'm like, okay, why didn't they do this? Or they could have done this. I know air travel enough to know that there were some things they probably didn't do very realistically in the show, Okay. But then again, too, there are a lot of, those things that the procedures, I guess, if you want to call them that. We don't know all of those. They don't publicize a lot of those procedures. So I've always wondered this too. And I need to ask my, I have some family members that fly, by the way, and I need to ask them, because I'm very curious about this, that if somebody hijacks a plane, for example, wouldn't you, as a pilot, put the plane into a very sudden nosedive? Because one, you're going to knock everybody off. You go, put your seatbelts on, kind of thing. Just kind of, you don't know what's going on, and then boom, all of a sudden everybody goes weightless. Because if you hit it hard enough, like the Vomit Comet, that plane, where they do a lot of weightless scenes for movies and stuff like that, you will go weightless for a period of time, and you can knock those guys off their feet. Question is if they get back on their feet, So I don't know. I mean, could you coordinate something like that? That's one thought that went into my head. Or is that too much of a risk for the passengers? That kind of thing. Right. So I'm just curious about some of these operating procedures now that pilots have to use in the event. What do you do? So I don't know. It's fascinating to me. I don't know. But some people will be like, nope, I'll stay away from that show, but you might like it.
Well, dude, I've been watching the new season of Strange New Worlds, and I'm very happy with it. So good. Because we like the first season. The second season's just as good so far. So
good.
Yay.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I was a little nervous about it, because it was such a good first season that there's just no way that they could have really made season 2 as good. But I'm okay.
Well, and we were both nervous too with maybe there might be some more agendizing that might have been pushed into the second season that they avoided in the first season for the most part.
Yeah.
And so far so good. So it's been very, very Trek.
Well, one thing that I am hearing they're planning on doing in season 2, which is not very Trek, is a musical episode. And that really, that worries me, because I don't care about music. I love musicals, and I don't care about musical episodes in certain shows like Psych. And I think you mentioned that Buffy had one. But
that's right.
Like Star Trek.
The musical episode is a very Joss Whedon thing to do, historically speaking. And I'm kind of looking forward to it, because I loved the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I feel like they did one in a couple other of his shows. I don't remember which ones. But but speaking of Buffy, Brian, am I to understand you're watching that now?
Yeah. So I actually talked about that on, you need to watch last week's episode, because I played a clip from Buffy, but I also showed it too, so that way you can actually see what I was talking about.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm excited for you, and I'm living vicariously through you, because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So
let me ask you this: when did you actually watch it for the first time? Did you watch it right when it was airing, or
no? I started it. I started watching it when season 6 began, but I started from the beginning and caught up to it.
Okay.
So around 2001, around 2001, I think is when season 6 came out.
So I'm coming at it from, it aired in 1997 is when it started, and then went through 2004, I think, or something like that, or 3. I don't know. But here I am watching it in 2023. So it's 20 years old already. Let me preface this by saying I don't like vampire shows anymore. When Blade first came out, I was all in it, and then it was just like they just killed the genre. It's just like when Walking Dead and some of the other zombie stuff came out, they killed the genre. It's just,
Twilight killed the genre for you, didn't it?
I'm sorry, but sparkling vampires just don't do it for me, man.
Right.
No, I never watched it actually. But
I
the
didn't
reality is I just never really got into that kind of genre for the most part. And so I just had no desire to watch Buffy because it's about vampires. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
but
I totally get that.
To be fair though, I really liked the first season. It was fun. It was
Short.
it was short fun, but it was happy. It was just kind of that fun little like episodic whatever.
Right.
And then season 2 got a little more brooding and a little more emotional. And then I don't know. I got really tired of the whole Angel and Buffy storyline, the romance, and they were just like, oh, forbidden love, and it's just like, after a while, I'm like, come on, guys. I don't mind love stories, but that was kind of like, but I like some of the characters. Willow's probably one of my favorites. There's some other
Spike.
Yeah, he's pretty
Spike
good. James Marsters, though. I mean, he's funny
so
because he's been around forever and does.
He's
all kinds of
sci-fi
stuff.
royalty.
I like him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good. There are some episodes that I really enjoy, and there are some that I'm like, I definitely could leave that one and not. But that's pretty typical of a TV show that has a 23 episode run because that's the way they were back in the day. They had some episodes that just weren't winners, and it's okay. But overall, I'm enjoying it. And of course, now that Mad Scientist, has one of his characters in World of Warcraft called Bored now, I now understand that. Yes. And I love walking around going, bored now.
Bored now.
I'm bored, by the way, Captain. Can we talk about... No, you know what I really want to go see is Oppenheimer.
Oh, next weekend.
You're gonna
My
go?
movie buddy and I are going next weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
This coming weekend, as in tomorrow. So we're going tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
I meant this weekend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, next weekend, this weekend, it's all the same, right? It's just it's all one giant. I'm excited to see this. I mean, I'm pumped. I've heard excellent reviews about it. It's 3 hours, by the way, so plan ahead.
Oh, okay.
Don't drink too much water. But man, I'm excited. And I want to learn more about the history. I hear it's pretty true to actual history, but it'll be interesting to watch it and then compare and contrast afterwards to see. What's interesting? There are
all sorts of stuff.
Oh my gosh. I mean, even just thinking of what's finally come to streaming, like Fast and Furious 10, which I know you don't care about, but I want to watch that. Sisu? Do you know how to pronounce that? Sisu?
Sisu?
It's Sisu.
No, what's the context?
Basically,
is a movie called Sisu?
Sisu, yeah, whatever it is. It's I don't know much about it, but what I have heard is it is John Wick like against Nazis. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's World War II. Somebody does something to this guy, and of course he just goes all John Wick on them, and it's just like this massively graphic, kill the Nazis. And so for those of you who are into that kind of, roid rage, man.
Can you see them pitching that, the screenwriters pitching that to a studio? It's like John Wick.
Killing Nazis. Yeah.
I like it.
Actually kind of cool, man.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll just call it Sisu. What does that mean?
Why Sisu? Don't ask. Yeah.
There's a new Transformers on streaming. Secret Invasion, which they talked about in, what was that? Which movie? I think it was Captain Marvel, maybe. I get so lost on what everything refers to these days because there's so much content. But
information overload. Yeah.
It's the whole, whatever. Go watch it. It's Marvel. It's fun. I haven't seen it yet, but I saw the reviews weren't very good, so that's a little disappointing. But
okay.
And then Haunted Mansion. Now I don't know what this is going to look like, but when I went to Disneyland, that was one of my favorite rides. Was the Haunted Mansion. I loved it. It was amazing. Now I watched the 2003 version with Eddie Murphy, and it was like, but I have high hopes for this one, and I'm going in with low expectations and just to have fun. Kind of like when I go see
That's
Barbie.
what you do.
I'm just going to go in and laugh and have a good time. And whatever. Have a good time.
Yeah. Good attitude.
Good. Anything else you're watching? I mean, I love talking about what we're watching because we all watch. Well, most of us watch stuff.
Well, since I was on last, I've been watching. Remember how when I was on last, we couldn't think of the stuff we were watching? Remember that? We were like stymied what we were watching.
Because there's so many things out. We're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, I remembered one that I've been
Brain
watching.
damage.
It's the series Alone. That was on the History Channel. And it's really popular. It's there. I think the 9th season just came out on Netflix, but most of the seasons are on Hulu or thehistorychannel.com. But I've watched season 8 on Netflix to whet my appetite. And then I started at the beginning from seasons 1 and 2. And now I've just started season 3. And basically, Brian, you're just watching people, 10 people go into the wilderness and they eventually start to starve and go crazy. That's what the show is. So it's very interesting.
It's like the pitch meeting. Okay, we're gonna do this show where people just starve and go crazy. Yeah, sounds good, dude. Let's do it.
And they're literally alone. If something really bad happened, like if a bear attacked them, which is totally possible where they're in most of the places they go, they would be dead. They couldn't get to them fast enough. The people, they must sign waivers like crazy before they even go out there, because the producers, they come as fast as they can when they hit a button, like on a sat phone, and say, hey, come and get me, or I've got a problem, or I want to tap out or whatever. And then they come in with a boat or a aircraft or whatever and get them out. But that takes a while to get there.
It's a reality show though.
30 minutes. Yeah, it is a reality show, but I think it seems to be one of the more really reality shows. And watch when I say that, somebody says, actually they've proven that it's totally fake. And
yeah, dude, you know what we need to do? Here you go. Here's our pitch. I like this one. Sisu / John Wick meets Alone. So we've got, Alone in the Wilderness, you're going to go out there and try to survive, and then you're going to go crazy, and you're going to have some psychotic killer out there who somebody did something to him and his family, and he's out for revenge. And now we're going to see what happens. That
would be the best show. Give it 10 more years and they might actually do it. You never know.
Dude, if we get to that point in humanity, we've lost.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. I hope we never get to that point.
I'm waiting for when they get back to gladiatorial games like they did 2,000 years ago. So
man versus bear, except in like the real going to in the Coliseum, and man takes on a grizzly. That'd be amazing.
I really like your your idea about a killer in the woods stalking you, and you have to not get killed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Cabin in the Woods. Did you see that movie?
No,
you haven't seen that yet.
It. No.
We finally
is that the
watched
M. Night Shyamalan, right?
No, that was Joss Whedon actually.
Oh, there's two Cabins in the Woods movies. There's the one with the Guardians of the Galaxy guy who comes in, and there's a gay couple and their daughter, and they have to kill one of them.
No, that's another Cabin movie, but it's not called that. It's what is it? See, I've got to look this. Knock at the Cabin.
Thank you. I get those two mixed up.
Totally. It actually came out. That was with Dave Bautista.
Yes,
who plays Drax. The Cabin in the Woods was from 2011. It does have Chris Hemsworth in it, so you're still going Marvel. I thought that was Joss Whedon. Yeah, it was Joss Whedon. There you go.
Okay, I thought it was M. Night Shyamalan. So
no, I think the new one is M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh,
right. Okay, see now I'm getting confused. Here it is. Yes, the new one from this year is M. Night Shyamalan, but the 2011 one, the Cabin in the Woods, is Joss Whedon. It's fascinating. It's actually worth watching. It's very much like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but with a twist and some other things that Joss Whedon style. But interesting. I know.
I had no idea.
Psycho's basically hunting you in the woods. Essentially, is what.
Okay. Well, then make that a reality show.
Do you really want to see, humanity go down that path?
No, I don't want to see humanity go down that path.
Okay, I'm just clarifying because people are like, these guys are insane, man.
No, I don't want that. I just don't feel like I have any agency or control over what goes on in society. Therefore, if it happens, it'll be interesting. Let's put it that way.
Let me just share a moment here for everybody who's watching and listening. We have agency on right now doing what we can do. Captain, you and I do right now to influence and encourage others. Let's not go down that path. Let's try to respect and value others. How many times do I say this? All of the stuff that's going on right now, everything we're all pissed off about, everything that frustrates us and makes us angry, and we go off on our rants and we have conversations at the dinner table with our families and everybody hates us for it. Calm down, respect and value others. If you do that to the best of your ability, so many problems just disappear. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Just try it. Just try it.
Yeah.
Okay. Try it for a week. Report back. Tell me how it was. If you hated your life and you end up punching your sister, fine. Tell us that story too. I don't care. I just want to know what happened. And I don't know. There you go. Punch your sister. That's a great title for the show.
Oh, wait, that'd be a good reality show. Regardless of all of what we do as good people, the world may still present us with these things that we don't want necessarily. But
how are you going to react to it? Ooh, yeah.
Or
wait, pushing buttons. That's the name of the show, and it's a reality show where we push people's buttons to full on. How are you really going to respond when the going gets tough?
Wasn't there like in the first season of ER, there was an episode where there's this guy in the hospital that was he was a psychologist and he was just pushing people's buttons constantly and trying to get a reaction out of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
This was like in '94. I just remember first season of ER that there was an episode like that. It just reminded me of it. Anyway,
there's 2 O's in Goose Boys. That's all I know about ER.
Goose Boys? I thought there'd be 3.
Comma. This is where punctuation really matters. Let's eat grandma. Yeah. Comma. All right. Really quickly, I've got just a little bit of, actually I have a ton of new music, but I'm not going to share it all right now. I've said this before. Go to the links that are in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're in the show notes on your podcast app or whatever. Go to TRBS 2023. It's a Spotify link. Even if you don't have Spotify, you can still pull it up and look at it, find the songs, put them in your own link or whatever. If you do use Spotify, then follow the playlist. But oh my gosh, Captain, I mean, you know London Grammar. We both love London Grammar. They have a new song, and I love this one. It's with another, either an artist, I've never heard of this either artist or group, called Camel Fat, PH.
No, and one word. Yeah, no.
Yeah, Camel Fat. All right, that camel is fat, PH. So anyway, it's called Higher. It's really, really cool, and I'm glad because I've been waiting for some new London Grammar for a while. And then Royksop, isn't that how you pronounce his name? Like
Royksop, yeah.
Royksop.
One of my favorite old bands, yep.
I don't know if you heard this one. It's with Jamie. This is so funny. Irrepressible. This reminds me of what Captain Influence, you didn't see this. What Caffeinatrix said, which was misunderestimated. I just love that word now. So Jamie,
I use it all the time now.
Irrepressible.
Thanks.
It's just one of those. And then Mind Against, it's called The Next Day. That's the name of the song. And yes, I think you might even enjoy this one too.
I think I would if this works up, yeah.
This is one of my favorite names for an artist is San Holo.
It's like Com Trues.
Com Trues and San Holo. I love this. So anyway, Aurora teamed up with San Holo and did a song called Bring Back the Color. And then, were you ever a Coldplay fan, Captain?
Never, but I never hated I was never a Coldplay hater like a lot of people either. So
this is for like the old school Coldplay fans. Clocks, remember that? Of course, that song was
that's one of my favorite early 2000s songs is Clocks. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, they introduced just an awesome rhythm. You know, it has that ding 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 ding. It's just a neat rhythm that all of a sudden became very famous after that. But they were one of the first to kind of really make it popular. And of course, the piano part's awesome. Just a great song. Anyway, there's a beautiful cover of Clocks by Alex Baker and Sahara Moon. It's amazing. It's almost it's very, very almost haunting and ethereal. But I have so many more that I want to say, but I'm just going to at least leave it there for you to go check those out on our list and see what you think of them. And,
rock it on. There's a lot of covers of old songs that's very popular right now, doing covers of songs 20, 30 years ago that are kind of more melancholy or more slow.
Yeah. I'm 100% good if somebody wants to do a cover that's different. If you do a cover that sounds almost exactly the same, but it just isn't as good, that just sucks. I'm sorry. I don't like that. Anyway, dude, you know what we have not had in the longest time ever, Captain Influence, that I have been like, I've been waiting for this. Like, you have no idea.
Deep Thoughts with Captain Influence.
The next time I get a colonoscopy, I plan to ask the doctor to chat me up about my cats while I'm drugged during the procedure. If I can somehow record it for YouTube, I'd make my millions.
Oh my gosh. You know what the music means. That was wonderful.
I never have known what the music means, but yeah.
Well, and we never will, but it's expected that someone will know, and that's all that matters. But hey, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. It has been so much fun. And Captain, thank you for being here once again. We'll see you next week.
It's nice to be back.
Glorious, glorious rest of your week. The Real Brian Show is signing off.
The Real Brian Show is a production of 514 Media at 514mediaempire.com.